Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome inside the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu. No classes on Friday. The majority of your schooling done online. Check out bellevue.edu for more details. Tonight, we've got a great show lined up for you. But before we get there, I gotta tell you who's hosting this little ditty with me tonight. Tyrell Muller, the winner of the Call Your Shot contest from a few months ago, is in with us tonight, filling in as the special guest host for the evening. Tyrell, thanks for doing this, man. Try again. There we go.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
It's his first time turning on a microphone, folks. Got to give him a little bit of a leeway. You asked me before the show, and I told you when we went on air why I picked you. We drew your name out of a hat. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's listening to After Hours for the first time. Welcome. Thanks for being here. But the reason that I got this opportunity to host this show was because of a contest that 1620 The Zone held. So I figured in my hour of need, I would go to somebody that won a contest that we held on this program, and you won that contest. So I figured I'd ask if you want to do it. You graciously accepted, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the offer. It was great coming on the first time, so I appreciate having a chance to do it again.
We threw the ball in your court for tonight, and we asked you to come up with some topic ideas. So some of these are yours. What is the difference between Fred Hoiberg's long tenure at Nebraska versus Greg McDermott's tenure at Creighton? Are they on the same path? Are they both in their last stop in their coaching career? We'll debate that at 6:15. Do we actually need pro spring football? It's helped some people. It's hurt some people. It has bored some people on Sunday mornings. We'll talk about that at 6:30. We'll find out what's trending on social media with Dan Campion. We'll buy or sell at 7 o'clock. And then what should we expect from Fernando Mendoza in year one in Las Vegas? Should the ceiling be a little bit higher because he's the Heisman Trophy winner? We'll debate at 7:15. And also the college football coaching hot seat has already started to warm up, and it's not even spring football time yet. We'll get into all that more. You can also join the show, 402-951-1620 tonight. You can also get a hold of the show at After Hours 1620 on Twitter as well. The head football coach, Matt Rhule, spoke on Saturday and gave some of his thoughts about his early spring impression, and they got a head start. They're actually starting their spring practice before anybody else around the country. And Matt Rhule credited that to a couple of different reasons. He talked about the lack of a transfer portal window in the spring, but also the recovery time that you would have and from the school year as well. But there are some changes this season, not just the early start to the spring, but moving the practice schedule back to later at night, that it feels like the head coach and the people around him feel that recovery hasn't been the point of emphasis it needed to be in the past. It kind of feels like they're kind of putting that on Front Street this spring.
I would agree. I always thought it was kind of weird. I understand wanting to start your day right away. You're at your most energy that you should have.
Sure.
But also knowing college kids, who knows if they're getting as much sleep as they need. But
yeah, most 50-year-olds at their prime energy. I don't know if a 21-year-old is.
But yeah, I understand pushing it back and like even just trying something new. Obviously, it hasn't kept everyone healthy the last couple of years. So
sure.
Trying to just change things around.
Well, and that's why I thought it was interesting that they're bringing back the traditional spring game. And I think a little bit of it is because the fan pushback. There's clearly been some people that are not upset about it. Some people, it's their only chance to go to a football game throughout the year.
Well, also, I think the change of the transfer portal season also helped that because you don't have the spring, even though, as many have talked about, you can just unenroll and then re-enroll in a different school, but not knowing that, like, a team can't just up and quit and go in the transfer portal like you used to.
It's not as accessible. I agree with that. But the other reason is, like, I mean, listen, 2 years ago, this coach staff was really high on Bly Hill. They thought he was going to be, if not their top corner, one of their top corners, and he ends up going down, and they kind of leaned on that as a little bit of a crutch as to why they were canceling the spring game. And I think a lot of that was because they didn't want to deal with the backlash of talking about the transfer portal, which is fine. You've got to have your definitive reasons, not have to worry about the outside noise for some things. But I thought it was really interesting that they leaned so heavily on not doing it because of the injury portion. Now they're just like, hey, listen, we can't have guys lining up outside of our office talking about, TCU called them yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and go through with this. But, obviously a lot of this spring leads up to that scrimmage at the end of it. And Matt Rhule was talking Saturday about the scrimmage portion of it, because obviously the spring game's not the only scrimmage. They're going to have 3 other ones. And they said they're not even scheduling those out yet. They're going to just kind of like let the competition happen before they worry. I like that approach because you also don't have to have the guys in the back of their mind thinking about it either. There's no outside pressure about it's in the spring, in the scrimmage this Saturday because of this reason. Just go out and play every day. Let the chips fall where they may, and then decide that stuff later.
Well, and then when you have the new coaches like Rob Warwick and Roy Manning all in now on the defense, and then it just also with the new quarterback room completely, except for TJ. It just I feel everybody's starting at the bottom, and they're just going to work through it. Obviously, some people have to step up,
which that's how it should be every spring. But obviously, that's not the case. And I think it was pretty readily apparent. We'll skip ahead to the quarterbacks just because you mentioned them a second ago. I think it was pretty readily apparent, not only by what Matt Rule talked about, but the way the guys that are playing talked about Anthony Calandria, that it's pretty readily apparent he's the guy this year, and he's going to be. Ja'Cory Barney was almost glowing when talking about him.
Yeah, you can't bring in somebody like that, Mountain West Conference Player of the Year, and not expect them to be in the top.
Sure. Well, it's twofold, right? It's not only the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year, but he also played at Virginia and had a ton of experience there, and then went to have the success that he had there. And that they wrote a pretty decent sized check to get him. So,
so my question is, what's that mean for TJ? Knowing Trey Taylor is in Lincoln yet, what's that mean for TJ or even Danny Kaline?
Well, it's interesting for two reasons, right? Not only is there the Trey Taylor aspect of it, but there's also the fact that TJ Lateef was a 4-star Elite 11 level quarterback. Oh, and by the way, the guy next to him, Danny Kaline, was 2, right? Yeah. So Danny was a 3-star, but he was an Elite 11 guy as well. And I think that has been one of the things. Say what you want about the win-loss records and the plateauing at 7-5 and whatever. But the thing that I think I've been the most impressed with Matt Rule and his time in Lincoln is the amount of guys that have stayed when given the opportunity to leave. Or, and listen, I think you could throw a little bit of a caveat in there with the Tony White of it all and guys leaving to go with their defensive coordinator. Still a plethora of, look at the Cam Lenharts, the Riley Van Poppels of the world. I mean, RVP was in the middle of a redshirt year, still chose to stay in Lincoln to play for this coaching staff and specifically for Matt Rule, because it clearly wasn't just to play in the system, because he's still here and it's a completely different group.
Well, and you can look like Princewell left. He left for Ole Miss. Now he's at LSU. But as you said, I do agree. He has something about him that he's able to keep the core, the younger core. Sure. And finally, maybe this year we start to see it, but unfortunately that schedule is
pretty brutal, man. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. And on that line, I think that is the reason we talked about a minute ago. The emphasis on the recovery and keeping guys healthy is because I don't want to say they felt like they could risk it a little bit more when they had quote winnable games, but you've seen the way this schedule lays out, and you're going to play the who's who in the Big Ten this season, and you're going to need all hands on deck for a lot of those games.
Just like any organization, you have to. They're just focusing on trying to stay healthy all the time, especially like you said, in the gauntlet that's coming up. Oregon, Indiana, I'm blanking.
Ohio State.
Thank you. But so I'm up for whatever Rule's trying, whatever he can do to push these guys forward and keep them healthy.
And there's been a lot of criticism of this coaching staff, and I think a little bit of it is just in some direction. But the thing that I'll say about Matt Rule is he hasn't hesitated to pull the trigger and change. Obviously things weren't going well with Marcus Satterfield. Now I think it helps that the guy that was in the waiting was Dana Holgorsen. He's got obviously a pretty good resume, but even like in the 1 year with John Butler, and there's obviously some personality disconnect there between those two guys. And he just, listen, it wasn't working, and there might've been a little bit of internal pressure from above him as well to make a change there. But there's been a lot of negative connotation around the amount of change and turnover at the coordinator positions, but a lot of that has been the doing of the head coach as well, and making a change because there wasn't a fit there. And I think a lot of we specifically around here, we've seen guys stick with coordinators because they're loyal to them or their friends or whatever, to a detriment, where this head coach, albeit not getting the results you really want in the win-loss column, but when it comes time to make a change, has been pretty quick to pull that trigger.
Well, you can go back to Mike Riley. He loved Mark Baker. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he brought him over. He brought most of his Oregon State staff over. But then he cut ties as soon as the AD said, hey, we're done with him. We're moving on to the next guy. And we know how that ended. And so we talk about coaches being able to move on.
Sure.
Bill Callahan wouldn't move on from Cosgrove. And to his detriment. But at the same time, it is refreshing to see, but it doesn't always mean it's going to work.
Sure. Yeah. No, and listen, there's some to continuity, right? And I think there's obviously the loyalty portion of it, and there's obviously the friendship portion of it when a coach doesn't want to move on from a coordinator. But I think a lot of it for head coaches being such creatures of habits and needing that stability, a lot of it's probably the familiarity too. There's probably some level of fear to the unknown of, okay, well, if I get rid of this guy, I've got to also backfill that position and maybe work with somebody I don't know or I'm not as comfortable with. And which is why, I mean, Scott Frost went and got a guy that was working at a credit union at the time to run his offense at one point. There's been a lot of discussion about the defensive players that have been brought into the transfer portal and their health level. And Matt Rule talked about Dexter Foster, the transfer in from Oregon State, and he also obviously brought up Anthony Colandre that we talked about a minute ago. But he talked about all those guys on the defensive side of the ball and just kind of mentioned how they're all healthy at this point. And Owen Stoudemire and all those guys seem to be full go at this point and don't really have any worry for those injuries. So if you're a Nebraska fan, you're wondering, okay, what's the health situation like for these guys that we brought in on an injury year? It's very rare that you have a full healthy defense day one of spring practice, and they've got through a couple practices now, and it sounds like everybody's going to be full go.
Yeah, like we said, it's good to see. I Dexter Foster was dealing with a shoulder when he was coming in, and
a hand,
and Stoudemire was dealing with ankle,
yep, and a foot, so multiple injuries. So, but like the one thing that not only Matt Rule but the players that spoke after them talked about the defensive line that I like to hear was the power level, just big power. Everybody just talked about how big they were and how powerful they were. And when you're talking about a team not getting a pass rush like we saw it in Nebraska a year ago, that's real. And listen, this is just spring ball talk. That's really refreshing to hear.
And that's what I was going to say is this is what we hear every spring. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but it is what we hear every spring.
We're more aggressive of a defense. We attack the ball.
The defensive line's getting after your offensive line. The offensive line is making the defensive line better. But then when it comes, to that time,
we give up 9 sacks to Michigan.
We allow how many yards to Utah?
Yeah, or Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to talk about Fred Hoiberg's career after Nebraska and Greg McDermott. Is he done? And if not, what does it mean? We'll get into all that and more. If you missed our opening segment tonight, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Aloe Fiber from Nebraska neighborhoods all across our state. It is clear there's no place like Nebraska, and just like so many of us, Aloe calls Nebraska home. Born and raised right here in the Cornhusker State, sharing proud traditions of agriculture, athletics, education, and community. And just like game day traditions bring all of us together, Aloe Fiber brings families together, connection by connection. Go over to aloefiber.com/Husker Radio. Sign up for the service provider that picks Nebraska to provide the official internet, TV, and mobile for. Check out aloefiber.com/Husker Radio tonight. Fred and Mac. Is it a TV show or good coaches? 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Basketball season's almost over, but that doesn't mean you don't have to stop by Jerry Ryan when you're looking for the ideal polo shirt to get on the links for this summer. We've told you many times about the Johnny O Polo. Listen, it's the top of the depth chart for a reason, but you always need a good backup. There's Mizzen and Maine, there's Peter Millar, there's Cutter and Buck. There's also the brand new Brax pants if you're looking to dazzle on the golf course before it gets warm enough to wear shorts. You want some decent pants as well. Head over to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, Century located 78th and Dodge. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
Mainly cloudy tonight, low temperature in the mid-30s. There's a slight chance of some drizzle or a shower late, possibly into Tuesday morning, a little drizzle or a shower early. Otherwise, mainly cloudy Tuesday. High temperature around 51. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Rail Cars Happy Hour is here.
Stop by 144th and Blondo Monday through Saturday from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 2 to close, and enjoy $2 to $5 off appetizers, $1 off draft and bottles of beer, and delicious ciders. All signature cocktails are $10. Classic cocktails are $8. And every glass of wine is $2 off. Plus, Rail Cars' incredible brunch menu is on display 9:30 to 2 Saturday and Sunday.
Rail Car Modern American Kitchen.
144th and Blondo.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
.617 on a Monday night here at 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking to keep up to date on all the championship action, including Lucas Gabriel's men's basketball team making a run at the NAIA tournament, head over to the Bellevue Bruins app by downloading it to your smartphone. Tonight, I want to say good evening to the Night Shift J-Man and Captain and the guys checking in for us. You can leave us a comment on YouTube as well. Tyrell Moeller is in tonight as our guest host. I don't know if we're going to keep calling it After Hours, Dan. It's been 6 years. Should we pivot on the name? Maybe we should put that out to the Night Shift to make a decision. This is your guys' show. We just get to talk about it.
I mean, whatever you want to do.
Dan Camp in an hour with Jimmy Allen.
Yeah, that's going to take too much time for me to put together with Cutler and all that.
All right, well, we'll figure it out. Let us
Sounds like a lot of editing.
Let us know if you want to change the name of the show. We'd love to get your thoughts as well. As I mentioned, Tyrell Moeller is in tonight. John Schreiner is dead. No, not really. He just doesn't work here anymore. But John, hopefully you're listening. We miss you. Fred Hoiberg and Greg McDermott seem to currently be on this parallel path to each other right now, where obviously, I don't know if you know this, Nebraska basketball probably going to make the NCAA tournament. Creighton basketball probably not going to. Obviously, it's a little tournament in New York City in a couple weeks that they get a shot at winning to try to be able to do that. But I think the time in their life is really interesting. Obviously, both have ties to Iowa State. One left for one reason, one left for the other. But they're also very long in the tooth in their coaching career. And Mac has talked about maybe one more year. I've been on the path that I don't think Alan Huss comes here from High Point and leaves the head coaching position to sit on the bench for more than one season. I don't know how many people would do it for even one, but he chose to do that because this is his dream job, which I can totally and absolutely respect. But there's been a lot of discussion that what happens if Nebraska does make a Final Four run. Now, I think there's a lot of people that feel the way this season has kind of gone towards the end. It hasn't looked as good as it did in the 20-0 run, blah, 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 blah. I still think this is by far an absolute slam dunk second weekend team. I think people can cool their jets a little bit on the doom and gloom. But listen, Fred Hoiberg has been to a Final Four. What happens if he does it again? And does he choose to walk away after that? Because I don't know how much left he'd have left to prove.
So the fatalist fan in me of Nebraska ball, my worry is they make the Sweet 16. They get that first win. They get to the Sweet 16, even just that. And you don't know what schools are going to have changeover. Does Self leave Kansas?
Sure.
Does, ISU's coach leave? And then we're looking at Fred. Does he leave? So that
I don't think you'd go back to Iowa State.
Well,
I just
but you don't know what
sure.
schools open up. And that's the fatalist in me that thinks that. And then also it would just be Nebraska ball luck to lose that first weekend somehow.
Well, and you've also got to wonder, like, does any part of him want to go back and scratch the NBA itch? Like, I would be very doubtful. Like, I didn't seem like he loved his run in Chicago. And he's talked about not loving it. So
he also had a man who many would only describe as a jackwagon.
As an owner?
As an owner and as a player on that basketball team. Let's not forget that he was the one who had to handle the Jimmy Butler "I'm unhappy in Chicago" saga. And then it was like, oh, is it Fred Hoiberg's fault? And then he went to Minnesota and it was, oh no, this is just a Jimmy Butler trait where he thinks he's the best player on this basketball
team. Is Jimmy
team.
Butler Mike Eckler? He just doesn't like being where he's at.
Well,
I mean, he loves Miami. Loved Miami.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, he's certainly Golden State?
Golden State, yeah.
And I haven't heard from him in a while.
That's because nobody cares about the end. We've canceled the NBA on the show, other than Dan. Dan loves the NBA.
I'm barely following it anymore.
Yeah, you and everybody else. Back
it's
to
wearing thin.
Back to Hoiberg and Mac for a second though, because it feels like I'm not going to change my direction. I've been steadfast since the Alan Huss announcement was made that I think Mac is going to hang it up after the season is over. But I wonder what the hard line is for Hoiberg. And I wonder if he's even had time to think about it. I mean, as good as they've been this season, it'd be weird if he had, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think he has thought about it, but at the same time, Sam's leaving. He has,
that's a great point.
Most of his players that he's brought in, Rink, Burke, Sanford might leave for the NBA. There's nothing.
Oh, he's definitely leaving.
Yeah. There's nothing keeping him tied down here besides we gave him that shot. We stuck with him even through all those terrible 7-win years.
Now, I want to be very clear. I don't think we gave him that shot. I think he gave. And listen, it's so interesting because he was in that list of guys like Lane Kiffin, like Mark Richt, guys that were quote from here. That it was like, well, if we ever need a coach, we can go get so and so because they're from Omaha or they're from Lincoln, and they had no real ties. You know what I mean to the program. But he was the first guy that kind of fit that bill when fans would talk like that. And let's be honest, it's worked out pretty damn well up until this point.
Yeah. It did for him. Well, it took a while though, and it took patience. And when I say we, I mean the university itself. Trev gave him that extension to and allowed him a chance to reinvent himself.
We obviously just got the Bill Moose book a couple of weeks ago, but I wonder when we talk about that extension and giving him the runway to get the thing off the ground, I wonder how much the pandemic and Fred Hoiberg kind of being the face of pandemic basketball.
I remember that night.
It was and everybody does. Yeah. Listen, for what I mean, Dan, we seen this. It wasn't a 7.4 rating when Fred Hoiberg started getting sick on the side. We talked about this one night. The rating was astronomical in the night that it was being reported that he may be dealing with COVID and Fred, I'm glad you're okay because it looked like you were literally dying on the sideline. But it was one of those nights where it was it superseded sports because of everything else that was going on. And it was oh man, we can't really fire the pandemic guy, can we? And I don't think there was anything to that, but I wonder how much that played a role in the extension specifically.
Honestly, I don't think it was, I think, him willing to take Trev's input and reshaping his staff, taking a cut in money, and also then
giving basketball players football jerseys.
Well, and then also
people forget
Frost flailing like he was.
Yeah.
I think I don't think Trev wanted to have multiple turnovers I think he knew the writing was on the wall with Frost, and he's like, I don't want to really go through
said so
2 major men's hires. So if I can at least give him a chance.
Listen, when Bill Moose made the hires he made, there was talk about, was this going to be the greatest athletic director of all time? He went out and got Scott Frost, which everybody and their mother was clamoring for. He went out and got Fred Hoiberg, and then he went out and got Will Bolt. Those 3 names were what if Nebraska could find a way to bring these guys home conversations? And obviously we'll see what happens with Will Bolt. And I think that team's going to be a lot better this season. And they kind of have been out of the stretch. And I think we all understand why it didn't work with Scott Frost now at this point. And clearly it's working with Fred Hoiberg. So it's going to be in the moment, did Bill Moose need to be fired? Yeah, probably, just because of the way things were going. But I wonder how much we're going to look back on what happened after that and listen, Bill Moose was absolutely an absentee athletic director. And as we found out in his book, if you take him for his word, there was a lot of reasons for that. But I wonder how Bill Moose will be looked at if Fred Hoiberg does do the unthinkable and goes on a Elite Eight, Final Four run. Will Bolt gets a turnaround this season? Because there's going to be a lot of people that go, maybe we should have kept that guy around.
I mean,
and I love Troy Dannon. Don't get me wrong.
No, yeah, I have no issues with Dannon right now. I thought even Trev leaving, I didn't care for it, but I have nothing really bad to say about Trev. I'm sure people do, but
I can see why people would, just because in the manner it happened. But I really think bringing Frost back for those 4 games sat with him the wrong way. And because, literally took to the airwaves and said, there's no empirical evidence that this is going to work out, which is French for I want to fire this guy now.
But I can't.
Yeah. So, and listen, when you're in that chair and you know that the way the head coaches you hired or the athletic programs on the field dictate whether you have a job or not, I can't really blame him for leaving.
But doesn't this go back to Bill Moose's book where there's so
100%.
much handedness in the athletic department or the university itself?
It hasn't stopped. Yeah. It'll be interesting though. I mean, and obviously when we're talking about Fred Hoiberg, you got to wonder how much that stuff plays into effect too. I mean, I would be surprised if a lot of that doesn't end at the athletic director's front desk, but there's obviously some stuff that's got to trickle down.
Well, also you talk about like how much longer does he want to keep doing this with? We all know of his heart issues.
Yeah.
He obviously
his real heart issues, not like Urban Meyer heart issues.
Yes. He had the whole Iowa incident just 2 weeks ago.
No. And you brought it up, but I think the most interesting part about it is the Sam Hoiberg of it all. Like, obviously, he probably wanted to coach his son through his career and done a hell of a job of doing so, but we'll see how that pans out. A guy that used to sit in your chair went on to win the MVP of the UFL. We're going to talk about what the importance of spring pro football is. When we come back, if you missed the segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com under the After Hours tab. It was brought to you by Pasta Amore. It's Monday. You thinking about the weekend yet? Got a family dinner plan? You want to show out in front of your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad? Have them over and let Pasta Amore cater in. Sunday night family-style dinners are available at Pasta Amore starting after 4:30. Tell everybody you cooked it. It's fine. Just tell them next time they want some great dinner, stop by Pasta Amore in Rockbrook Village. They will have you covered. UFL, is it a good thing? 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. If you or one of your loved ones was maybe wrongfully accused of a crime, or maybe you're facing a serious charge and you just want to know what your rights are, head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Bob and his team will sit you down. They'll explain your rights, get you ready for your big day in court, and have you ready to face a judge when it's time. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Get a free, no obligation legal consultation.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
If you're looking for an authentic Italian experience, look no further than Pasta Amore. For 4 decades, Pasta Amore has been keeping the spark alive for couples in the Omaha area with their homemade pasta, made fresh every day. Our hand-picked selection of exceptional wines will put the nightcap on your evening that you expect. Open every day at 4. Stop by Pasta Amore in Rockbrook Village and enjoy dining in the romantic dining room or relax on our shaded patio.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less. Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
6:31 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to keep up to date on all the championship action happening. As Dwayne Monlux's baseball team takes the field here in a couple of days. Keep up to date on all the action happening on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Tyrell Muller sitting next to me. I'm Jimmy Allen. That is Dan Campion. We're on 1620 The Zone. Speaking of the person sitting next to me, at one point, Adrian Martinez, who I know is a big fan of the show, might be listening tonight. Adrian, 402-951-1620. Love to hear from you. Sat in that chair, and I don't think he'd mind. Maybe I've told this story publicly, Dan. I can't remember, but we had serious conversations about him maybe not going to play spring football. Not me trying to talk him out of it. I tried talking him into it, actually. But just there's a lot of unknown, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in the UFL/XFL, like, you don't live in the town you play in. You live in Texas, and then both teams fly to their destination to play those games in front of their quote home crowds. So I mean, you have to love the grind and want to get to that next level that much more to go that route. And I'm not saying that Adrian didn't. I mean, it clearly worked out for him. It's just there's always the opportunity to go try out in the fall, regardless if you play in the spring or not. You can be a lot more fresh if you don't play in the spring also. But it has, and Adrian's, I mean, just a unique case in the sense that A, he's been in this room, but B, goes on to win the MVP of the season and then gets multiple opportunities at different spots. But I like, we're going to talk about whether it's worth it or not. And I think it's worth pointing out that when he was in here, like, there was 2 days that he literally flew to Cleveland in the morning one time and was back here at night to do this show and was trying like that's how rigorous that NFL schedule is when you're trying to find a spot on a roster. Is you could be in Cleveland and Houston in the same day, still not get a roster spot, which is why I think spring football can be a positive for guys. But the thing is, I think the opportunities like the one we're talking about here are so far and few in between. That's probably 10 to 15 guys that ended up shaking out for.
So last I read, 60% of all spring players ended up with at least a camp contract. Yeah. But you're talking majority of the success stories have been kickers. You can point out like Adrian Martinez, I think, is on a future contract with San Francisco right now.
Yep.
There's a running back, Jacob Sailors, who played for the Battlehawks. He signed a new contract with Detroit Lions. Malik Turner with the San Francisco 49ers, wide receiver.
Kyle Shanahan loves him some UFL, apparently.
I think he might have the most. But and my issue with the UFL is they have been trying to go younger. And I think that should be the point of the spring football. It's if you're over 27,
what are we doing?
Yeah, what are you doing here? But I'm not going to try and tell anybody don't chase your dreams.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
because you once in a lifetime you'll get that Kurt Warner story, right?
Exactly. But I mean, like, I'm looking
at a bad movie, by the way.
I didn't.
Don't waste your time.
But you have like 31-year-old Luis Perez, who's the spring god quarterback or whatever his book was titled.
Yeah.
Which it's fun for me. I actually enjoy watching the spring.
Somebody has to.
Yeah. Somebody, and I'm a degenerate, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I feel comfortable saying I've watched 4 spring football games total ever.
I'll one up you. I've been to the Battlehawks home games.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They had like 25,000 people there. But it felt like a minor league game. Like going out to the Storm Chasers.
I'm not knocking it. It's just not for me, man. Like I can't look at that product and go, this is pro football. You know, I just and I feel, no offense to our friends of the Omaha Beef, I feel the same way about that. But like the great thing about those organizations, you mentioned Marty Cordero and the Storm Chaser and those guys, and the Omaha Beef and those guys, what they do is they create an atmosphere that a game just happens to happen at. Like, listen, if you go to the Storm Chasers baseball games, you're going to see high level Major League Baseball. If you go to the Omaha Beef games, there's some high level talent in those teams. It's just what I think the reason the XFL failed the first time is they tried being an alternative to the NFL. Now, what the UFL and the XFL have done now is they've kind of leaned into being we're fine being the minor league system, but it's not the minor league system. It's where the guys that didn't make it coming out of college chose to go to try to continue to play.
But at the same time, like, your practice squads in the NFL are 15 players, and I think 7 of them now can be veterans. You're then taking away those reps from those guys who maybe just are missing that practice squad because you're taking those 7 veterans. They now can get those extra plays. You know, is it probably leading to the best football? No, not by any stretch.
See, and I'll play devil's advocate to some degree, because the caveat to that is you're also having live reps of collision and tackles and ACLs and ankles and fingers and hands and concussions and being repped in the spring as well.
And that's where you talk about going from spring to fall. It probably is detrimental, but at the same time, if you don't have that tape, then
that's a great point. You talked about making the team and like the effort to get into camps and all that, but we opened the show talking about Matt Rule, and like he kind of talked about this with the combine, is like agents are always working. You know, if you got a good one, you're probably getting a call sooner rather than later just to get a tryout. Now you've got to go out and you got to. And to some, not to some degree, it very much is still a good old boy system where it's more about what you know, not who you are, especially if you're in like that third emergency quarterback situation. But as far as the game film, it also can work against you too. And I think that's where some people run into a problem, is if you're a starting cornerback and you get burned on a play, it's like, okay, well, you're getting burned by a UFL player. Like what's going to happen when you have to cover Tyreek Hill?
So here's a question I have for you. Being an NFL fan,
sure.
Robbie Chosen has been jumping from team to team to team every year.
Yeah.
Would you rather take a guy who has film tape and is like 25? He's shown some things in like the UFL, and he struggles a little bit, but there's at least he's raw. You can work with that, or sign Robbie Chosen back to your practice squad.
Honestly, I think I'd rather take Robbie Chosen, and here's why: is like, we look at it when we turn our TV on and they're kicking off, right? Like there's something about a guy that has been on the NFL schedule and played in and knows what the expectations of an NFL locker room are, that you can't really put a value on. And if it's like maybe in either direction, I think you're always going to go with that guy, which is why I think guys like him and guys like Josh Rosen and certain guys like continue. I know Josh Rosen isn't anymore, but like continue to end up on NFL rosters, because it's like, okay, well, we don't have to explain what needs to happen here because they've been in a locker room before and understand those expectations. And sometimes if the talent level isn't as quite at the level that you think the UFL guy is, you might go with that route too, just because it's not something you have to worry about. And I know nobody wants to hear about that. That's just the way the world works.
Yeah, no, totally understand. It's a valid argument that you go with the veteran presence, even regardless if it's just for the fifth wide receiver or practice squad. But
yeah,
I don't know. For me, I love the underdog story. Like you said,
who doesn't?
Kurt Warner. Like, I love.
Did you know he was bagging groceries when he got his NFL start? They never mentioned that.
No, never. But I just appreciate being able to see a project. Like, I mean, it starts here at the end of March. Like, we just came through February, which, besides
famously,
NBA, college basketball, but it's like the doldrums of it. Like the NBA's not in the playoffs. NHL was on break for the hockey, or NHL was on break for the Olympics.
I mean, that's true. That is a true statement. They were on break for hockey.
The Olympic hockey.
Yeah.
College basketball is winding down, but you still you're not into the tournaments. You're not into March Madness. So
I don't think I've ever said this before. I cannot wait for college basketball season to be over. No, you're right. And there is that lull in the sports schedule. We were just talking about this the other night, that like it's got to be a lot of the reason that the NFL hasn't really leaned into helping the XFL or the UFL or whoever, because the NFL is a 365 sport. Everybody's all eyes are on Indianapolis right now because of the combine, and all eyes are going to be on the NFL draft, and then all eyes are going to be on free agency, and then everybody's going to be talking about OTAs, and then everybody's going to be talking about who got cut in mini camps, and then everybody's going to be talking about schedules, and then kickoff gets here.
But speaking of kickoff, though, it was the NFL who adopted the XFL UFL kickoff.
Yeah.
So you say they can't ignore them, and they do. They try to, like, the draft is going to be going on during the season. They're not going to care about the UFL, but they are using them, or they're taking things that they've done and they're implementing them. So obviously it's having some effect between the two leagues.
Yeah. And that is where I think this has the biggest chance to succeed at, is being a testing ground. But I honestly feel like if there is no NFL injection from either a monetary standpoint or a supportive standpoint, the proof is in the pudding. Those leagues just don't last. And it's bad for everybody when that happens, right? I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. I just don't think it's in the NFL's best interest to try to support it.
I understand that. Like, I'm not here. I don't have an interest in the UFL, like as a owner.
Sure. Yeah.
But I honestly think
only one of us in this room owns an NFL franchise.
Oh, Oh, that's right.
That is true. I do. I am extremely invested in the UFL.
Dan, I need you.
I watch every game.
I need you and your cohorts to donate some money to that league. No, listen, I think there's definitely a lot of pros and there's certainly some cons, and TKO and the XFL's involvement, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can stabilize it to get like. I just don't see any way the way they're doing it with shipping guys out every week, 2 teams at a time, is going to last. And like I heard what you said about the Battle Hawks, and obviously there's a couple of teams that have really good turnouts. I mean, Birmingham loves the Stallions, but there's just the likelihood of that lasting, not being in the community like that. Like, I mean, we see the Place 60 stuff, the Make-A-Wish stuff that the NFL guys do. Like, I just think having those guys in your community would be so much more valuable than the way they do it. We're going to find out what's trending on social media when we come back. If you missed this segment, want to get our thoughts on spring football, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's cold outside. When you go turn on your furnace, does it take a little while for it to kick on? Does not get as hot as it used to. It may not be your furnace at all. It could be your thermostat. Head over to controlledcomfort.com. Get a maintenance appointment set up with Steven and the crew tonight. Not only are they going to diagnose your problem, they're going to tell you exactly what's wrong and not upsell you on anything. They're just going to fix your problem and leave your home warmer than they found it. Head over to controlledcomfort.com tonight. We find out what's trending with Dan Campion on social media on 1620 The Zone. We'll come back. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Recon Pest Control. Listen, I've been telling you for a while that we called Recon last spring, and not only did they come out and spray our yard, and we haven't seen insects since then, they did it when they were supposed to. They gave us a time frame that they're going to be there. It wasn't like the old cable company that would give you a 4-hour window. They told us an hour ahead of time what time they would be there. They came out, they sprayed their solution down, they told us what was going to curate the problem, and it worked. We haven't seen a wasp in our yard in over 12 months. If you want that level of service, head over to Recon Pest Services. Keep the creepy crawlies out of your house this winter.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort, and we've been in business for 6 decades, and in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you, and that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
.645 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Keep up to date on all the championship action on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Tyrell, this is the part of the show where it just gets off the rails. We get real wild. We get real crazy. We'll turn the show over to Dan Campion.
Yes, you do. And
you've been quiet tonight.
Very tired.
Okay. Get it together.
I was hot, and then I was cold, and then I was hot, and then I was cold.
You've always been hot, Dan.
It's not easy to sleep when it's like that. And I hope that one man,
just one,
in Atlanta loses sleep tonight as well. You'll know him just by his voice, I would hope. They're going to ask a bunch of questions about it, but Bruce Pearl does not believe that Miami of Ohio should be allowed to make the tournament.
They're 29-0
without winning their conference tournament. Do you want to grab Bruce Pearl by the shoulders and shake him until sense pops into his brain?
So there's a lot of talk around the MAC and the lack of strength of schedule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Akron's 24-5. Kent State's 21-8. Like, there's a possibility, an outside chance. There is a legit possibility the MAC ends up getting 2 teams in. If Miami, Ohio runs the table and they lose the championship game, the MAC is absolutely going to get 2 teams. And I think Miami of Ohio is in no matter what. But listen, Dan, you know me, this has been my stance for as long as I've been doing this radio show and longer, that the end goal of a conference tournament, a national championship bracket, college football playoff, the Super Bowl, whatever, is to determine who the best team is. And I don't care if Miami of Ohio, who's technically a Division I basketball team, plays 31 games against Northwest Southeast Divisional School 3 of the poor 31 times, and they run the table, and then they lose a conference championship game. That team absolutely deserves to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't even know how or why this is a debate, and I'm not saying this is the trajectory that the Redhawks are on, but this is the conversation that used to happen around Gonzaga a ton. Is, well, they don't play anybody. Well, then they had to go out of their way to start playing powerhouses and dominating, and it took years before that trend even came on. I get the sentiment in which Bruce Pearl is coming from, and I understand what he's trying to say by saying, listen, if Miami of Ohio doesn't win their conference championship, we may be bumping out somebody else that is more deserving at a chance to play for a national championship. Right now, today, on March 2nd, you can't argue that somebody is more deserving to play for a national championship because nobody has beaten Miami of Ohio up until this point.
Yes, and this is always, and it rarely happens because we rarely see an undefeated team in the regular season that simply by their body of work that they have had so far this year, all that Miami of Ohio has said to the NCAA selection committee is we can beat all of the teams that are in our conference and that are in our non-conference schedule.
Which they have.
So the next logical step would be put us on a decent seed line and let us see what we can do against the quote unquote big boys.
If you're playing against the Milligans of the world, which they have, by the way, or the IU East of the world, and you're winning 78-55 or 67-66, I'll hear you. They were blowing everybody out. They hung 111 against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They hung 129 against Trinity of Illinois. They hung 109 against IU East. They put up 135 against the aforementioned Milligan. They had a competitive matchup with Akron, but they were able to pull away later in that game too. So, like, even the games that you're quote unquote the teams you're supposed to beat, not only they beat him, they were drubbing him.
Well, my question is, as Bruce Pearl forgot, he coached at Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like, if he had gone 29-0 at Milwaukee and they lost, and I'm sorry, I don't know what conference Milwaukee University is in.
MEAC. I think they're in the MEAC.
You know, he would have been screaming his lungs out like, hey, we are 29-0, put us in.
They're in the Horizon League.
Okay. Who knows? This was back in 01.
Yeah.
But I think he's coming from his SEC days, Tennessee, Auburn. He's like, we were always, they might have been on that cut line, and to allow Miami of Ohio in would be a travesty to him. But the team has done everything put forth before them. Yeah, sure, their non-con is no one, but besides Air Force, I guess.
Obviously, Milwaukee was in the Midwestern Collegiate Conference in 2001. I'm sure you were aware, but I just want.
But I think
for anybody that might be at trivia tonight.
Yeah,
I think he's coming from a place of entitlement.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the point, though, right? Is like, who doesn't want Miami, Ohio to have an automatic bid?
The SEC,
the 6th place ACC team that's trying to get in. Like, this has nothing to do with Bruce Pearl. It's just like, and the reason this makes me so mad is, what do we love the most about March Madness?
Cinderella
upsets.
It's not like, tell me how much you love the Final Four. I'll hear you. But the reason that Debbie in accounting and Steve, the diehard college basketball fan, are watching this tournament at the same exact time is because they want to see the upsets and they want to see the Miami of Ohio's and the true stories of the tournament go on runs.
I mean,
shut up, Bruce Pearl.
St. Mary's is one of the best stories of the most recent
100%.
years. George Mason, back in what was that? 2004,
2007,
2007.
I was literally just re-scrolling through Twitter, refreshed the homepage.
What's that? I mean, you don't even.
And it's literally Dunk City.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
But listen, it's not even like that was 15, right? 2015.
Yeah, that was 2015.
Yeah,
and there were 15 seeds.
You don't even have to go back that far. I mean, St. Peter's was 3 years ago. Like it's not like this is there was this thought process, and I'll hear it to some degree because the ones in the 2 seeds making up the Elite Eight last year, that NIL, the transfer portal, is going to kill Cinderella and March Madness and yada 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 yada. Like, let me tell you about Indiana football for a minute. It's helped them out quite a bit, and and I said this last year. I think they truly caught lightning in a bottle, and it's just one of those years where there's a ton of top end talent. And yes, the transfer portal absolutely helped that. And yes, NIL absolutely helped keep the best players on the best teams. But you can't tell me that's going to consistently happen year in and year out.
No. And I mean, you want to talk Cinderellas, and not that they are, but we hear Nebraska's NIL, or at least I've been told that their NIL for basketball this year wasn't the best.
Sure.
But I
think they allowed $18 million to the basketball program. I think that's public knowledge, right? Or the football program, excuse me.
I believe so. It sounds right.
I was more speaking basketball, but
but I'm saying, so there's $20 million allotted, and they put $18 million in football.
Yeah. So what's they've overcome even all that, the other teams' NIL or their prestige.
If you ask Mick Cronin, all you got to do is just get you a big European, right, Dan?
Yep.
Isn't that all Illinois has too?
Them and UCLA, apparently. No, I just think this is a really stupid discussion, and I understand why it's being had. And I think Bruce Pearl might have been clickbaiting a little bit here, but I don't see any world in which I think there's a real shot that Akron wins the MAC. And Miami Ohio doesn't, and I think both of those teams get in. That's just my opinion. If you missed the social media soundbite, check it out tonight on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Do you post your business on social media every single day? Do you not have time to? We have the solution for you. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. Dan and his crew will set you down, give you the roadmap to success, and engage your ideal client online with ads that convert to sales. How do I know? They do it for me over at Sonovation on a daily basis. Head over to pixelfiremarketing.com. Work with Dan and his crew tonight. We buy or sell. On the other side of the break, 1620 zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. 'Tis the season for tree roots to be clogging up your drains. If your basement's backing up every time you turn on your dishwasher, it's probably a little bit of a problem going on in your neighborhood, not just in your line. It could be your neighbors had their line water jetted and up back in your line. If that happened, head over to axpservice.com tonight. If you have a big-time plumbing problem but not a big-time plumbing budget, there's financing available on the website as well. If you have a big-time plumbing issue, get it solved by AX Plumbing tonight.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort, and we've been in business for 6 decades, and in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you, and that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission, and time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, time to get out of the house. Enjoy Nebraska's many state parklands on those nice days when we get them. Grounds are open for all kinds of outdoor recreation. You just need to bring your own water, have a current state park permit, and bring along some money for those camping fees if you want to camp out. I always say, park it in a park. By the way, you can get lots of information on the Nebraska State Parks online through the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov. Question: are you venturing outdoors this time of year? Ooh, if so, file a plan with somebody that you know and trust, telling them at least where you're going, when you're due back, assemble a survival kit, carry a first aid kit, tote your smartphone to record a voicemail location, and pack an extra set of warm clothing in a trash bag or a dry bag just in case. Please be safe out there. I'm Greg Wagner.
KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone. Jimmy Allen, Tyrell Muller, and Dan Campion with you here tonight. Anybody you want to give a special shout out to now that you're a famous radio host?
I guess I'll give a shout out to my wife, Samantha, and my two boys, William and Remy.
Shout out to Samantha, William, and Remy. We hope you guys are watching and listening, supporting Dad tonight. Hopefully you're watching and listening. You can join us on the night shift on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Let us know if we should fire Tyrell already after his first hour in the building. It's a possibility. Dan makes the rules. I just follow him. Speaking of Dan, he's got buy or sell first time. Hold on. Do you know how this works? You're an avid listener to the show, so if you say no, I'm going to be very upset. Okay.
So he's going to give us a topic. We buy or sell it. Easy enough.
That is correct.
Well, you guys don't even need me. Can I leave?
Can I leave?
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go do it first tonight. We'll see. What do we got, Dan?
Just fill it in. We got plenty of commercials. We thought the Detroit Lions were going to have to do something last week, and as we correctly predicted, they finally have made their first move of the offseason. David Montgomery has been dealt to the Houston Texans. Buy or sell, this allows for a good amount of freedom for the boys in blue.
It does, but like it was kind of what we were talking about earlier with the unknown of it all. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and add some of your roster, but like we had a really good two-headed monster up there in Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Like, I think this is a huge pickup for the Texans. I don't love this for Detroit though.
No, I don't either. I would push this to as far as you could go and then cut loose. Like Gibbs is young enough that what's the big deal of holding on to Montgomery for one more year to see if you can push that to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think they need to make they got to pay some people. That's got a little bit to do with it. But you got a proven winner. And I know things didn't go the way they wanted it to last year when they finished the bottom of the beloved NFC North of Dan Campion.
Indeed.
But
actually, they didn't finish at the bottom. The Vikings did.
Oh, that's right.
I thought the Vikings had the tiebreaker.
No, yeah, I think they finished in last. Dan, you should know this. You're the proud owner of the Green Bay Packers. I'm almost positive they finished last.
And if I don't correct you, my wife being a Vikings fan will kill me.
Dan, 1 point for Tyrell. They finished at the bottom. It was a three-way tie for last. We have a ghost. What else we got, Dan?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is probably the most confusing thing that they could have done. The Detroit Lions have a lot of really good defensive pieces that they probably could have offloaded or at least traded for something better in general. And surprisingly, for the age of that franchise, they have probably one of the oldest offensive lines in all of football right now.
Yeah.
And they've started kind of thinning out that herd a little bit, but it's strange that you would do the dealing first on David Montgomery. Doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, you're definitely not getting rid of Jahmyr Gibbs if you got to get rid of one. Plus they just gave Aiden Hutchinson that $180 million. I mean, money's got to come from somewhere.
Yes, it does. There's still no word on Aaron Rodgers as to what his plans are. Buy or sell, it would be a mistake for the Steelers to let him back in the building.
That you're going the other way on this.
No.
I don't no, I'm going to sell. It's going to be a mistake because, I mean, this is a Hall of Fame level quarterback, even though he's 43.
Just about somewhere in that.
He's still Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there were still some flashes of him. They were above 500 last year. You have some semblance of camaraderie between him and the head coach now. I mean, people forget they won a Super Bowl, but
that was how long ago?
Dan, how long ago was that?
16 years.
I knew the answer. I just wanted him to say it.
I'm familiar.
Buy or sell?
So if I buy, I'm saying they should bring him back. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go with buy because their draft pick right now is 21st or no, that's last year's. I'm trying to look.
I think she should be 19th this year.
They have no quarterback in house. That's what I'm getting at. They have.
How dare you talk about Mason Rudolph like that?
They have, as far as I know, they're not going to trade for a quarterback. So
Steelers are 21st.
So they need Aaron Rodgers back unless they are going to spend draft capital to either move up in the draft, which this quarterback draft class isn't that great, or they're going to try and move on to a backup such as Mac Jones or Geno Smith.
But the Packers have the ability to do the funniest thing ever, don't they?
They do.
They could trade Malik Willis for somebody in the rights to Aaron Rodgers and make him come back to Green Bay.
I mean, it's a new GM, so
yeah.
I don't know if he just had a problem with Brian, but
what do you think, Dan? Should they bring him back?
So I mean, with the fact that they don't really have anyone in their quarterback room, I kind of forgot about that little nugget of wisdom that it's Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, and Mason Rudolph famously got beat up by Myles Garrett on national television during Monday Night Football. So that's never beat on.
Yeah, that's more
whatever.
More accurate.
But I still think you have the chance at any point in time to trade for a quarterback and to figure that out. It's a soft market right now. That's a good point, Tyrell. And
Will Howard. People forget about Will Howard. Remember, speaking of the combine, remember Will Howard's combine last year? Woof.
I do indeed. But yeah, sure. Let Aaron Rodgers come back for one more year.
I would be surprised if they didn't.
And Jimmy already gave me my segue. Speaking of the combine, that's where Diego Pavia was this past week. And among the many things he had to say,
had a lot of them.
He said that his mentor, Johnny Manziel, is giving him some great advice. Buy or sell, that statement does not bode well for the future 6th or 7th round pick.
That statement, I buy, is probably what causes him not to get drafted in the first place. Like, do we not forget how it went for Johnny Manziel in the NFL there, Diego Pavia? Like, I've been trying not to put this out in the ether. But doesn't Diego Pavia seem like the most Cleveland Browns quarterback of all time?
I was going to say, we talked about the UFL. Diego Pavia seems like the perfect.
He could be the face of it. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I buy. Like, sure, there are things you could learn from Johnny Manziel of what not to do.
Yeah.
But that would not be the first person I go to take advice from, especially at the combine.
You ever just hear somebody say something and you go, oh. When Diego Pavia said this was his mentor, I went, yeah, that checks out.
It kind of makes sense because he's always, I mean, Diego Pavia just in general is such like a, I am here, I am loud, look at me, look at me.
You get that vibe from?
Yeah. And that was kind of Johnny Manziel's MO was look at me, I'm here. So if the advice that he's giving Diego Pavia is keep your head on straight, watch film, don't do a bunch of illicit drugs with Josh Gordon, don't secretly try to go to Las Vegas.
One drug Monday.
Right after a team meeting. I mean, if that's the advice that Johnny's giving you, good. But I mean,
anybody feel like that's the case? Anybody?
Well, the tenor of all the other things that he said during the combine when he had media availability were even more concerning.
Yeah.
Because he basically said, well, I'm not going to change who I am to impress a bunch of NFL teams.
We're hoping the Big Ten has to adjust to us.
And that would be like me walking into a job interview and kicking my feet up on the desk and saying,
"Hello, Miss Lady.
How much money are you going to give me?"
Think I can help with the
Is that pronounced
pan
Panem?
situation? Panem, it's a comb. What else we got?
Former Kentucky coach Mark Stoops is making his way to Texas as a special assistant. Buy or sell, Stoops will be a boon for the program.
Be a what?
A boon, a good thing for the
Oh,
Texas
I don't
program.
think I've heard this saying before. He's a great defensive mind. I just think it's Kentucky football. And it didn't work out there. I mean, good luck to Will Stein. Hopefully he can pull it off. But sure, I think Sark could use another head coach in there.
I sell it. Special assistant. Look, what's that even mean anymore? Or it just seems like
We could have infinity coaches.
Yeah, we have infinity coaches, and they just pick up a paycheck. Isn't that what Holgerson was doing before he ended up here?
Correct.
To for who was it?
TCU.
TCU. Did he help them with their offense at all, or was he just picking up a paycheck while he was traveling around Europe?
Wasn't getting a very good haircut. That's what he was doing.
He has a great haircut. What are you talking about?
My 1-year-old looks exactly like him. It's very weird. Dan Holgerson, if you spent the night with my wife, 402-951. Don't air questions. What else we got, Dan?
So this is this is the first time that a quote unquote random Dan question, aka the last question, is probably my best one of the night. Mississippi
We'll be the judge of that.
The state is looking to make NIL money cash exempt to
Mississippi,
drive
the
people to
state.
their schools. Buy or sell, this is good for business.
This is horrible for business. This I cannot believe this is taking this long for somebody to do. And I think it's because it's been fought in tooth and nail. Like, you cannot donate to your favorite football team and get a tax write-off. What are we doing? Like, there has to be some semblance of something that makes sense when we're talking about this, right?
Yeah.
This is not a nonprofit organization. You're not dedicating anything to education.
Is it just to the schools, or is it to the individuals as well?
Oh, that doesn't matter.
It is both.
Okay,
Yeah.
it is both.
I looked it up, and in the specific Mississippi legislation, it is for both of the things to be correct.
So one of the most revenue driving things, you're now going to make tax exempt with these donations in a state, I think, that is already having issues. I don't want to get political, but
Yeah,
a state
sure,
that's,
please don't. That's our number one rule in the show is we don't talk
a
politics.
state that's already struggling generating revenue.
Yeah, thanks, Brett Favre.
So I would sell.
Here's the thing, man. With the Charles Bediako of it all, are we really saying that, hey, not only are we going to let former professional basketball players come back, but we're going to let the members of our state pay for it, and we're going to give them a tax credit for it? They need to change the slogan from SEC, it just means more, to SEC, we don't care about the rules anymore, or ever, for that sake.
Yeah, well, and so the one thing that I don't think we said that is
Talked about a lot
probably even scarier is the fact that this is the easiest way for someone who is a gigantic Mississippi and or Mississippi State booster just to say, I'm not committing tax fraud.
Yeah.
I'm donating to my school's NIL fund.
You're right, Dan. We did not say that. We just heavily implied it.
How dare you leave off Mississippi Valley State?
Yeah. Come on. Jerry Rice would be disappointed in you.
I mean,
Nope.
Jackson State as well.
Yeah.
Which,
Southern Miss.
to Tyrell's point, there are a lot of things that happen
Hi, Dion.
near and around that Southern Miss campus and that Jackson State campus, because outside of those college campuses, it is
I will
where the tax money is actually needed.
I will forever point at this moment in history for anybody that's like, my school never paid players when it was illegal. You guys remember the show Last Chance U?
Yes.
There's episode 6 of the first season. They're the players are being recruited by other schools. And one of the guys is like, well, what else can we do for it? He's like, well, I can't say, we got cameras. If it's happening at the lowest level of junior college football, it's happening on your campus.
Which wide receiver was it that he was going to come to Nebraska under Pelini, and then he tweeted a picture of a bunch of money while he was down in Ole Miss or Mississippi State?
If you wouldn't ask me this question, he ended up going to the Vikings. I can't remember his name.
Oh, shoot.
He went to Ole Miss.
I know it's there.
Laquan Treadwell. I didn't even get into the Google. Figured it out. Memory. It happens. Yeah, but listen, this is going to happen anyway, and the powers that be that run this country are going to have to decide, do we just want to let people do this because it's going to happen anyway and give people a break for it so we can actually follow the money trail? Or do we want to try to do things the correct way? Because those are two very different things. Hey, if you missed Buy or Sell tonight, check it out on our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by our friends at Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's cold outside. When you get a click on your furnace, you hear a click on right away? Have you tried turning on your air conditioner? If you don't have an answer, if you didn't answer yes to either of those questions, you need to head over to controlledcomfort.com tonight. Set up a maintenance point with Steven and the team. They're going to give you peace of mind about your HVAC, not upsell you on anything, give you peace of mind about your furnace and your air conditioner tonight. What should the expectations for a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in year one be? We'll tell you on the other side of the break. 1620 zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Aloe Fiber. How was your football experience this fall? Did you enjoy the buffering circle that popped up every third and long on Saturdays? Are you sick of not being able to watch your favorite TV show where your kids are on their iPads? I know you could feel the pain in my voice when I ask these questions. I experienced it before I switched to Aloe Fiber 2 years ago. Get out of the Stone Age. Get over to Aloe Fiber. Get an all-fiber network straight to your house. That's sharing your network with your neighbors. Check out aloefiber.com tonight.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
Mainly cloudy tonight, low temperature in the mid-30s. There's a slight chance of some drizzle or a shower late, possibly into Tuesday morning, a little drizzle or a shower early. Otherwise, mainly cloudy Tuesday. High temperature around 51. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win. When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
7:16 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone. Tyrell Muller sitting in guest spot tonight. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's Dan Campion. This is the After Hours Lounge. You are the night shift. Don't forget to leave us a comment on YouTube. Anything we're talking about tonight. Weigh in on anything. Give us a phone call 402-951-1620 and get at the show at After Hours 1620 as well. We spent a lot of time in the last segment talking about the NFL and the combine and trades and free agency, et cetera, et cetera. One thing we did not touch on is the guy who's most likely going number 1 overall. I mean, the owner of the franchise was at the national championship game to watch him win a national championship in Fernando Mendoza. And there seems to be this expectation of a first overall pick to be the savior and go into the phone booth and put on the cape and come out and be Superman in year 1, and it never works. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this, Dan and Tyrell, and anybody listening, want to give us your thoughts. What should the Raiders' expectation, the first year of a new head coach and a first year of a new quarterback, what should the expectations of this franchise be in year 1?
For me, watching rookie quarterbacks, my worst thing is going back to David Carr, and Houston just left him out to dry with that terrible line, and I think it affected his career. My thing is,
without doubt,
ease him in, because there's nothing they have Bowers, they have Genty, their line is not great. Their defense, if they trade Crosby like they're talking about, not going to be great.
Well, if they're trading Crosby, it's to update that offensive line. Yeah, that's the only reason to do it.
And I know they said they want to draft and build around him, they want to draft a bunch.
But that's going to take some time. Yeah,
exactly. My thing is keep him healthy, put him in the right spots to succeed. Don't throw him out there day one, which I know they said
he
he
gets
won't.
sacked 24 times in a game.
Yeah. So
Poor David Carr.
Don't let his confidence get torn down, like we've seen from other.
He's a pretty confident cat too.
No, but anyone coming out first usually is.
So I agree with you a little bit, Tyrell, but I go on the opposite end where I think of one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Peyton Manning. Still, as a rookie, holds the interception record for a rookie quarterback. Let Fernando Mendoza get in there. Let him mix it up. Let him break it up. Because if you put the right coaching staff around him and you put the right guys around him to build him up, which I think that would be one of the reasons that I would say, if you're the Raiders, be smart this offseason. Do not trade Max Crosby. I know that he is like a centerpiece and a wealth of picks and money and probably another 2 to 3 good players or, mediocre players that can be good that you can get out of him. But Fernando Mendoza will figure it out. He seems to have a head for the football game that we haven't seen out of quarterbacks in a hot minute. And I know a lot of people are going to be jealous of the Raiders because they're getting Fernando Mendoza this year because he's a football nerd.
If he doesn't have a neck tattoo game 1, I'm going to be disappointed.
Dan, can I ask you, do you know how many sacks David Carr took his rookie season?
Oh, probably upwards of 50, 60.
76.
76.
Do you know how many, you talk about Peyton Manning in his rookie year, do you know how many he took his rookie season?
I'm going to put a number on it and say 28.
Close, 22. So that's what I'm saying. Indianapolis, I'm not saying they had a great line. I can't think of who their line was, but there's a difference between throwing your guy out there and just getting destroyed behind a terrible line to work through it, like Manning did with his interceptions, or throwing him out there, but he can be protected and he's just working through the game. So that's just where I go on the opposite side of you.
Well, and I mean,
that's fair.
I think it's important to point out too, not only was it Peyton Manning's first season, but they also bolstered that offensive line. Got a guy by the name of Marshall Faulk to come in as well.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that are around Peyton Manning that helped that David Carr didn't have because the Houston Texans didn't even have an offensive line or a franchise the year prior. So not really an apples to apples comparison, but I understand your sentiment. David Carr is always the catalyst for that because of the beating he took behind that offensive line. Now, if the Raiders don't do something soon, they're going to be in a lot closer to a situation that the Texans were in than the Colts were. But I think having a Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty is absolutely going to be helpful. But you've got to have guys that can keep him standing upright. He is mobile and he can make plays with his feet, but you can't have your rookie quarterback out there running the ball 12 to 15 times a game.
Well, also, who does he have to throw to besides Bowers and Genty? Can you name me one Raiders wide receiver?
I can't.
Not the one that's not in jail right now.
Yeah.
Daquan Thornton is one, and then I think Tyler Lockett. But
Tyler Lockett, yeah, but he's retiring, right? Isn't he?
I haven't heard that, but I'm sure it's coming.
Who did you say?
Daquan Thornton, I believe is his name.
That's not his name. It's Dante Thornton.
Or Dante.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll leave that comment alone. Anyway, listen, I just think there is.
It's bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad. Jack Beck and Trey Tucker, which Trey Tucker was not very healthy last year. Was not very productive.
Raise your hand if you knew that Philip Dorsett was still in the NFL. He's on the Raiders. I didn't know that. Anyway,
stays down.
Yeah. He's going to need a ton of help. And listen, there's a reason they're drafting first overall. But it's not like you're getting drafted first overall to like a prestigious franchise like the Steelers or the Chiefs or the 49ers. No, you're going to Vegas where they're just the Raiders and they make Al Davis-esque decisions. So I have a lot of questions about what that's going to look like, and I just think you should taper expectations if you're a Raiders fan. Like in a sense of, don't be surprised if he's not starting game one. I think he's going to, but it would be very on brand for the Raiders to not do that. So I'm with Dan. I think he needs to be thrown out there, and I think he needs to play. I think it's the only way you're going to get better. But you got to get better with him, and you got to put better talent around him. We're going to take a look at the coaching hot seat that is already fired up this season before the spring season has even gotten underway. Who's on the hot seat? There's one coach that's missing that you may disagree with. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Jarrett Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest. I got my wedding suit from Jerry Ryan. Dan got his wedding suit from Jerry Ryan. If you want to own your suit, not just get a rental that 6 other guys have worn, head over to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've been dressing in Omaha for over 50 years. College football hot seat. We come back. 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Railcar. What's the weekend looking like for you? How much would you like to add prime rib to the depth chart on Saturday? Railcar on Friday and Saturday, starting at 5 p.m., can make the Railcar restaurant on 144th and Blondo the top of your depth chart on the weekends with primetime prime rib dinners lasting from 5 to 10 p.m. Also, late night happy hour. Stop over, grab delicious dinner and cheap drinks at Railcar, 144th and Blondo.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort, and we've been in business for 6 decades, and in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you, and that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience from their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
7:26 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's Tyrell Muller, Dan Campinen On the 1s and 2s tonight, the NFL is the discussion we're just having. That's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about college football. ESPN has put out their way too early college football coaching hot seat tiers. Now they got ranked by 6 different groups. The hottest, wanted to work, it'll cost us, needs progress, retirement watch, and group of 6. Now the hottest of the hot is exactly the 4 guys you'd expect it to be, with Mike Norvell, Luke Fickell, Dave Aranda, Mike Locksley, and those guys round out those hottest seats. Now listen, I think the only thing that's going to save a Dave Aranda this season is a Big 12 championship, and I don't think anything short of that is going to keep that job. There have been people in Waco calling for his job for 3 years now. The luster of the one-time great defensive coordinator from LSU has definitely wore off. Like, I know Luke Fickell has not had a ton of success in Madison, but it doesn't seem like they're keen to running him off anytime soon. Like, I think he's got to win this year. Otherwise, it's probably a lot more prevalent than it has been. But if they didn't fire him last year, like, I don't know how quickly they're going to be to pull that trigger.
I don't understand how they haven't pulled the trigger. Is it because are they gun shy from already doing it with Paul Chryst?
Yeah, well, so Wisconsin has this problem with not paying assistant coaches, and I think they're wondering, like, okay, well, if this was they thought they won the pick of the litter. They thought they got the top draft pick when they got Luke Fickell to come from Cincinnati. But I don't think that it seems like for a school that doesn't seem to really care about their image too much, they're really worried about the Luke Fickell thing affecting their image.
So the interesting thing that they point out in the little blurb underneath Fickell is they chose not to hire Jim Leonard, which take that, with a grain of salt, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But it was McIntosh, their AD, who apparently went out on a limb and said, we need to hire this Luke Fickell guy. He's the hottest name in the room right now. So I think, unfortunately for Wisconsin, they're a little bit hamstrung in the fact that the AD and the football coach are so tied together.
Yeah.
And if Luke Fickell succeeds, Chris McIntosh gets to keep his job.
Well,
but I think if you get a worst case scenario and Luke Fickell just bottoms out completely this year.
Oh, they're both getting
of them
fired.
are out.
Yeah.
What do you think Fickell has to do to keep his job? Is 7 wins the minimum?
Yes. If he wins 7 games, he'll keep his job.
Oh, he's going to get. I'm looking at 2026 right now for Wisconsin. Western Illinois, Eastern Michigan, those are wins. Notre Dame, that
is not a win.
That is not a win. But then Penn State, Michigan State, UCLA, USC, Iowa, like
3 wins? Is that a 3-win season?
But then they end with Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, Minnesota. So I could see them going on a 4-game win streak to end the season.
No, I don't think so. They've lost their identity, man. Like they just, stop me if this sounds familiar, they just don't understand who they are. And it doesn't feel like Luke Fickell has the wherewithal to point them back in the right direction. Like, I think they could absolutely lose at Maryland at the end of the season. I think they could absolutely lose to Minnesota at home. And if you're looking at starting the season, we'll go with those aforementioned games, the Western Illinois, Eastern Michigan games as wins. I don't think they beat Notre Dame. I don't think they beat Michigan State. They lose at UCLA. They'll lose at home to USC. They'll lose at Iowa. They might beat Rutgers. I think they'll lose at Maryland. They'll win at Purdue, and I think they'll lose to Minnesota at home. You're looking at 4-8.
Oh, definitely within the equation.
He's fired before the end of the season, if that's the case. Like, if they get into that early onset Big Ten schedule, and you lose to Notre Dame in the kickoff of the season, you lose at Penn State, you lose at Michigan State, you lose at UCLA, you lose to USC at home, and you lose at Iowa. Luke Fickell is not coaching that Rutgers game. He's just not. And it kind of feels Scott Frost-esque, where you got the guy that everybody wanted, and then now you've got a ton of buyer's remorse about it. But if it's weird to me, because we're having the same conversation about Luke Fickell, who his claim to fame is getting a group of 5 team to the college football playoff, being in the same category with a Mike Norvell, who's literally won a national championship. Or not won a national championship, had an undefeated season and didn't get a chance to play for a national championship because of a quarterback injury. And it feels like those two things shouldn't even be in the same conversation, but they are. And then there's the interesting conversation for a guy that, Dan, you know how much I hate to say I was wrong, that I thought a guy that was going to get fired last year that's in the next tier in Lincoln Riley. And Lincoln Riley has been, and that is it's going to cost us tier where that buyout is a little bit in the higher end. Lincoln Riley just seems to have run his course in LA. Like, it doesn't feel like he wants to be there. Doesn't feel like they want him to come back, but listen, Jen Cohen does not mix words about it. She's not the biggest fan of him, either the AD out there. But if there was going to be a year where USC was back, this was going to be it, right? You bring back Jordan Mayava. That defense took a major step forward last year. They have the highest ranking portal and recruiting class in the country right now. Like, they are going all in. And I think a lot of it is they're going all in because if it doesn't work, they're going to go, okay, it didn't work out with Lincoln Riley. If we gave you all of these resources and you couldn't do it with all of this, when is it going to happen? And if not now, when?
I mean, and this is their stress test season with Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, and Penn State. So if it doesn't work out, you're going to know it this year with Lincoln Riley. It's going to be obvious.
So my question is, if Riley is to get over that hump, does he try to stay at USC?
No.
Or a guy that is not mentioned in this is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. If they decide to move on, would Riley then be interested in moving there?
I think there's a real world where those guys are at the respective schools on the other side. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at that at one bit. Like, kind of feels like Alabama's always wanted Lincoln Riley. Kalen DeBoer had a ton of success out of Washington and is a West Coast guy. I really think that I don't see a situation in which Lincoln Riley's at USC this year. It's either going to be so bad they're going to fire him, or it's going to be so good he's going to leave. Like, the roster is there for him to be able to accomplish the latter. The disdain is there for the school to achieve the former.
Do you think there's an in between where like they just?
No, I don't.
You think?
But I thought that this year. I didn't think he was going to make it to week 9.
If they get to 10 wins, I could see him like they're like, we have to hold on to him because one, the buyout.
If he gets to 10 wins, Lincoln Riley is coaching somewhere else next season. I guarantee you. Like, people are going to come calling. There's going to be some jobs that open up this season. I love Kalen DeBoer, and I think he's going to be just fine. I really wonder, for a guy that spent so much time in the Big 12, and then it's not documented, but kind of feel like as soon as Oklahoma made the jump to the SEC, that's when he chose to cut bait. I really wonder what Lincoln Riley's interest would be in Florida State, because it's not one of the big boy conferences. You can fall out of bed and hit a 4-star. You have Tallahassee to recruit to. Not that there's any struggle recruiting to Los Angeles. I'm not suggesting that. But he just has never felt like he fit in LA.
So, and that's, I think, unfortunately for Lincoln Riley, just historically, he decided to go and work for the one program, the one college team in the city of Los Angeles that people actually give a rip about. Like, of all of the
city of
things that are going on in LA at any point in time,
Keep
from
it rocking.
football to basketball season, all the time, the only college team that gets overly scrutinized is USC. Like, no one cares about UCLA. I guarantee you, if you took a straw poll, you couldn't find a bunch of people in LA who actually know that UCLA is in LA, famously. But they know about Lincoln Riley, and they know about the USC Trojans.
One name that's not on this list is Matt Rule. And Tyrell, I wanted to get your thoughts. Where are you surprised to see his name not listed on one of the hot lists?
If he had not gotten that extension, I think we would have seen it. And I think it would have been not like he's on the hot seat, but like kind of like the tier under it where it says we want this to work.
Yeah.
He'd be there with Shane Beamer, where it's like, yeah, he's had some success. He's raised the floor, but he's, in November, he's what, 1-8? Something needs to fix itself.
Yeah. And I think even maybe more importantly than that, you've got to have a top top 25 win this season for Matt Rule. I mean, he hasn't been able to do it since arriving in Lincoln. And unfortunately / fortunately, we had a lot of opportunities to tackle that this season. And I think 7-5 keeps him away from that list, but I think it starts to warm up. I think 7-5 is such a tall task. I mean, you get Indiana at home, and then the very next week you have to go to Oregon before Washington, who I expect to be a top 25 by that time of the season, comes back, and then you have to go to Illinois and Rutgers before coming home and facing Ohio State and Iowa to finish out the season. That's a tough back seven, man.
When I first saw the schedule release, I looked at it, I said 6-6, and I'm not coming off of that. Like, and that's at best.
I'm just having a really hard time finding 6 wins.
That's why I said at best. Like, I'm not even saying that's my prediction. That's just like, I don't see us, unless there's like injuries to some of those other teams like Ohio State, Iowa, where they just lose somebody.
Yeah, I mean, look at what we looked at Penn State before the season started.
Yeah, and unless
Still
something
lost
like
that game.
unless something like that happens and we catch them at the right time, or Indiana for some reason falls apart, like the magic just disappears.
That ain't happening. Not with that dude at the top. But we're looking at a real life situation where again, Nebraska may start the season 5-0.
And Rule's contract now is 2032.
Yeah, but I think it's important to point out he got the extension of the 2 years, so there's no addition of the money. So he will not fall in the it's going to cost us category to some degree. I mean, his buyout's still at, what, $50 million, right?
Yeah,
but
currently.
I don't want to. I say 15 million. It's not 50 million. What was I talking about? I still feel that money's not real in college football, and if your college football coach isn't doing their job, it doesn't really matter what that number after their buyout is. They're going to find a way to pay it. I think the guys that they have listed under the retirement watch, though, like all 3 guys hanging up at the end of the season with Bill Belichick, Kirk Ferentz, and Deion Sanders. Like the Deion stuff is so interesting for so many reasons, but like his health and the amount of surgeries he's had, you have to imagine that's going to be something that continues. I really worry about like what's next for Colorado football if he's not there.
And he's got to keep up with a woman who's in her early 30s.
And a TV show.
He's dating Karuchi Tran.
I'd say
shout out Deion.
He doesn't seem to have the best like cohesion of a coaching staff. He's like on his 3rd defensive coordinator now, and
so is Matt Rule.
Yeah, but he's also on his 3rd offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he just has famous football players come hang out and coach.
I honestly, I'm surprised Bill Belichick's still at North Carolina. That's the one that surprises me. But
Yeah, I thought this was going to be at a maximum a one and done situation.
But I see Ferentz for at least 2 more years.
No, really?
Yeah.
Dude, he's going to be 70 in August.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I think you can get me to Deion, like retiring due to like medical reasons and all this other stuff. Kirk Ferentz is one of those guys where he wins 8 or 9 games and he'll be like, yeah, I still got it. I still got the taste in my mouth. I'll do this until I'm like 80 years old. He's one of those weird guys where I just think he doesn't want to stop coaching because he just loves having the reins all the time. And I'll say it, Bill Belichick is too much of a stubborn a-hole to like ever give up a coaching position willingly. Like someone will have to probably go into his office and like change all of the locks, put all of his stuff on the front lawn and light it on fire like an angry ex-girlfriend and say, just leave, Bill.
Yeah.
Please just leave.
Listen, I get why you feel like you have to give him the slack, but like he's going to be 74 by the end of the season. And he only won you 4 games a year ago. I know he coached
Bowling Green.
Yeah, I know he coached Tom Brady, and I know he's got 6 Super Bowls. But it just kind of feels like that whole 8 Super Bowls.
He has 8 Super Bowls.
But as a head coach.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. That ship has sailed, in my opinion. I think you got to move on as soon as possible.
And I think that'd give him more time to go to those cheerleading competitions or whatever it is that his
cheerleading competitions and beauty pageants.
Like Bill, next time you're at Sports Center, blink twice if you need help because it kind of feels like you're stuck in a situation you can't get out of.
The only way I see Ferentz retiring is if, like this article points out, if they reach the college football playoff, then yeah, I can see him stepping away. But I think he has 2 or 3 years.
Man, I think 99% of the other coaches in the country in this situation, I would tend to agree with you. I don't think that stuff matters to him. He's been doing it for 30 years. Like, the college football playoff really that big? He's just kind of done everything. I don't know. We'll see. But it's time to give you our closing arguments on the other side of the break. When we come back, we're going to listen, this is the funnest segment of the night. You know what it is. We're going to give you a poll, and we're going to give you the hottest takes tonight to wrap up the show on a Monday. We'll see what Tyrell brings for his first ever closing argument. We come back on 1620 Zone.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
It is closing time on 1620 The Zone. Jimmy Allen, Tyrell Muller, and Dan Campenden with you here tonight. It's time for our closing arguments, courtesy of Bob Williams at Williams Law. What we'll do here is we'll put up a poll on Twitter. Whoever has the best argument will receive the best amount of votes, or the most amount of votes. Whoever has the worst argument will receive the fewest amount of votes. You'll get to decide at After Hours 1620. Guests first. I know you were mulling it over, pun intended there, over the break. What'd you come up with?
So I got a controversial one.
Okay.
Talked about a lot of underdogs tonight. The college football playoff should expand to include the winner of every conference, however they determine that. And no matter what, that winner hosts the first round. I don't care how they're seeded. They host the first round. So if you're having Alabama go to the Glass Bowl, so be it. You have Nebraska having to travel up to...
So a la college football or college basketball, where every conference champion gets in.
Every conference champion gets in, but they host no matter what if they're the champion.
Dan?
We're 4 days away from us being able to root for America once again. The World Baseball Classic officially starts this Friday with pool play, and everything that has come out about this baseball tournament and about the lineup for the United States of America has been great, especially before any of this, kind of even started and all the invites started going out. A reporter in an interview with Paul Skeens when they did the Cy Young Award interviews, after the season was done. They said, "Oh, Paul, World Baseball Classic is coming up this winter.
You want to come throw 300 miles an hour?
Would you want to be a part of that team?" And he let it slip that DeRosa had already contacted him after he won his Cy Young Award.
Of course they did.
And said, "Hey, Paul, we'd really like you to play on the World Baseball Classic team." And he said, "Yes, whenever you need me, however you need me, I want to play." He's like,
did he really feel like this would be breaking news that he'd been asked to do so?
It's so because when you're a Cy Young winner and you're young like that, this is just more stress and more strain on your arm, especially when you are Paul. I throw piss missiles every single time I'm on the mound. Skeens.
That's his government name.
It is legally. Livy made him change it. But it's just great because we got him, we got Tarek Skubal. It's like all of these guys who don't.
Imagine if your middle name was I throw piss missiles and you're like an accountant. It'd be terrible.
Like I throw pencils really hard. But it's just great. It's great to see that like all of these guys are embracing the World Baseball Classic and are excited to play in it, especially our 2 Cy Young Award winners from last year.
I have a confession.
Let's go, America.
I totally forgot the World Baseball Classic was a thing until this very moment.
Fair enough. Your captain is the captain.
I know. I will be very honest. I was not convinced that this was going to continue to be a thing. I thought this was going to be a flash in the pan, 2-time occurrence, and people would stop caring. I was very wrong about this. I actually love the World Baseball Classic, because I'm a little disappointed in myself that I forgot this was coming up or was continuing to be a thing. I just did not think it was going to be.
There are 2 islands that are out off of the Florida coast right now who are just salivating for this to start.
Absolutely. My closing argument for the evening is we need to play this back in 2 months when Jimmy says I told you so moment, because allegedly the NCAA and the College Football Sports Commission and the powers that be and the eventual czar of this thing we call college athletics are allegedly going to try to attempt to punish anybody that still tries to transfer out in a non-transfer period in college football.
Good luck.
You've been able to punish, let me count here, 1, 2, 3, exactly nobody. Every time you try to, you get sued out the wazoo and you fold immediately. Now, unless this is we're digging our heels in and this is the hill we're going to die on situation, I don't want to hear this, because the one moment that you lose a lawsuit and you tuck tail and run again, it is over. And that may be what everybody is waiting on for the big split to eventually happen, or the SEC and the Big Ten take their ball and go elsewhere. And I'll tell you right now, if that is to happen, and I think it's coming, the Purdue's and the Rutgers of the world that are trying to go to battle right now to get revenue sharing equal to your Big Ten counterpart, now is not the time to be doing so, because you're going to be left out in the cold without anywhere to go. And listen, that might happen anyway, so you're probably trying to get paid on the way out the door, and good on you for the attempt. It's not going to happen. There's no malice in which the Rutgers University, or the Rutgers as some people call them, is going to be able to put on pen to paper how you're valued at the same level in Ohio State, a Michigan, a Penn State, a whoever is valued at. I think you should thank your lucky stars in your New Jersey TV market that you got an invite to this conference in the first place. But I think we got lost in all of the conference realignment, shuffling, everybody trying to get to their seat at the table. Was conference realignment doesn't always have to mean you're adding teams in. Let me tell you about the school named Temple that one time got kicked out of a conference. Like, I think we're getting dangerously close to the people that are in charge of this going, why are they here? And there is a caveat to that. And I think a little bit of the reason we haven't hit that conversation yet is I think there's people like Brett Yarmark that would go, come on home. We would love Rutgers in the Big 12. And I wonder how much of this is also a little bit of damage control management, where it's, okay, we don't really want them, but we don't want to make anybody else stronger either. And to some TV networks, it doesn't, like, I promise you there are TV networks in these conversations that have no idea where Rutgers is even at. And then until you go, well, we got the New Jersey market. And they go, that's a lot of people. We'd love to pay you money for this product. But that can only go so long, right? So I think we're getting really close to the conversation happening about who are the haves and the have-nots. And I think that more than anything is what makes Indiana's national championship run so interesting. Because 3 years ago, Indiana would absolutely fall into that have-not category. Now you throw in the money that Mark Cuban has donated to that university and, the recent national championship and Heisman Trophy winner. That makes that conversation a whole lot more interesting. But I just think if you're somebody that's got a very warm, very comfortable seat at the table right now, I wouldn't get too comfortable. I think Nebraska is absolutely in that conversation that they don't have anything to worry about because of the brand and the brand recognition. How much is recency success going to matter? Like, is relegation going to become a thing? It should, right? But I like the way that the sport market is moving right now. All that really seems to matter is how many people are watching your games and how often they come back.
Well, I were talking about that relegation. If you are the Rutgers or, in a sense, like UCLA, and you're dealing with these budget deficits already, getting this Big Ten money, like it's far easier for Big Ten to be just like, hey, we're done.
Yeah, I think UCLA, if like push came to shove, I think it'd be Rutgers, Maryland, and UCLA on the cutting table.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and listen, what does that mean for USC? I mean, it doesn't really seem like they care if they come along. I think Washington is a really interesting case study because they've obviously got the rich tradition and they've got the money, but like they kind of feel like an outlier, and people forget like the Big Ten told Oregon and Washington no the first time. Like, what does that mean long term? There's the conversation in the Bill Moose book about Nebraska trying to go back to the Big 12 after the lawsuit for the COVID year. Does that come back to hurt a school in the future if these conversations are happening? It's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds.
Well, I think there's also something to, besides just football, what else can you bring to the table for our conference?
See, that's a conversation that should be happening, and I agree with you. I just don't think it is.
But, like, if Oregon shows up, all right, cool. Thank you for the Nike money. Thank you for
thanks, Uncle Phil.
The prowess of a women's basketball team and a men's basketball team. UCLA, at least they can still hang their hat on, we're the house that wouldn't built. We've got men's basketball. We've got women's basketball. USC can basically do whatever they want at any point in time. But Rutgers doesn't really have anything else. And
they've been pretty good at men's basketball recently.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they had one flash in the pan season, which is, if we're going recency bias, great. You can recruit out of New Jersey. You can't out-recruit Dan Hurley, though, who's from New Jersey, because he's basically picking up all the guys that you want. And, so is Seton Hall, to give them a better education at a different university.
We can agree to disagree on that, but Taylor Martinez was fast, guys. So highlight from the 2009 K-State game.
Miss him.
This is fun, man. I'm glad you got a chance to come and do this. We'll definitely have you back. Last thoughts before we get you out of here?
Oh, no, just had a great time. Thank you so much.
If you missed the show tonight, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Our closing arguments, as always, was brought to you by Bob Williams with Williams Law. If you're facing a DUI charge, maybe your son or daughter has found themselves in a little bit of trouble, and they've got questions about their rights, check out WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Bob and his team will sit you down, explain you or your son or daughter's rights to you, walk you through the process, and get you ready for your big day in court. Check out WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. For Tyrell Muller and Dan Campion, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Banana Cream Pie Day, everybody.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Railcars Happy Hour is here.
Stop by 144th and Blondo Monday through Saturday from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 2 to close, and enjoy $2 to $5 off appetizers, $1 off draft and bottles of beer, and delicious ciders. All signature cocktails are $10. Classic cocktails are $8, and every glass of wine is $2 off. Plus, Railcar's incredible brunch menu is on display 9:30 to 2 Saturday and Sunday. Railcar Modern American Kitchen, 144th and Blondo.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're